Welcome back to For the Love of Men podcast. My name is Courtney Shand, and I am hosting with my dear friend, Brianna Mosier. The intention of the show is to bring together men and women to learn how to honor each other's natural masculine and feminine energetic core so we can create healthier, polarized relationships. Today, Bree, I want you to start with telling people who you are, what you do, and anything else you want to share.
So my name is Bree, and mostly right now I watch Love Island while I recover from my sickness. My name is Bree, and I work with mostly female entrepreneurs, helping them scale really soul-led businesses and also attract in healthy masculine partners. And the way that I do that is through helping them embrace their feminine energy and their sense of pleasure and sexuality again. So a lot of the modalities I teach through are somatic, reconnection to the body, reconnection to pleasure, and really coming alive in that sense. And it is so much fun. And Courtney, you have a similar skill set, mission. It's so wild to me and satisfying to me that our missions complement each other without really competing. They're just so synergistic. So tell the people what you do.
Yeah, thank you. I am a relationship mentor, feminine energy coach as well. I help women with healing the relationship that they have with their own masculine energy. This is going to show up in how they treat their own body, how they speak to themselves, what they are willing to put out in the world creatively, and how all of that is supported by their own masculine energy in terms of what you were meant to do here, your purpose on the planet, and letting your body and your creative pathway support that being expressed out in the world too. So I do a lot with generational trauma and, again, body-based somatic healing in that experiential healing of trauma. And yeah, I agree. I love that we are both kind of in the same vein, but your work is very unique compared to mine. They just work so well together. They kind of prop each other up, but very, very unique.
Yeah, complementary.
I love it. Yeah, that's the word. Thank you. Thank you. Our topic today, we are so excited to talk about. A few weeks ago, if you follow us on TikTok, a few weeks ago, we issued a call for some help. We wanted women. We summoned. We summoned these responses from the women that are seeing our channel. And we asked what men do that they are impressed by. We got some really fun responses. But before we dive in, we wanted to share ours first because we led the way in the TikTok too. Bree, do you want to share a few of yours now, or do you want me to go first?
Oh, if it's okay, I'll give them a little teaser. And then I think as we share our listener comments, I might be inspired to share more things. I think that will prompt me quite well, if that's okay with you.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay. So, gosh, what do I want to open with? Emotional intelligence. That's always going to be it for me. Honestly, Courtney and I share probably the same top two, and she'll tell you what hers is next. And it's very close verse for me as well. But emotional intelligence, a man that is self-aware, is willing to hold space for my emotions, for his own emotions, who can be a pillar and be grounded and stay present in emotional dialogue. And this doesn't mean, heated conflict, all those things. It means they're willing to go into matters of the heart and become a sense of safety in what can often feel chaotic. So I'm really impressed by men who can hold space in those places and can also, would be like standard for me. But I think, at least in my experience, quite rare to find is a man that can take you deeper emotionally than maybe you take yourself.
Ooh, I guess we chills
in that way, right? Takes
Yeah.
a very strong and to do that. So I find it quite impressive, if I do say so myself.
That's a good one.
And Courtney, tell them the gold that is your number one. I already know what you're going to say.
You think? I just brought my whole notebook over here. I have a list. I have a list, guys. She's referring to making a plan and
Yes.
executing the plan. That's always my favorite one. I always advocate for a planner because it just is so relaxing to be around a man who is able to see things and see how they're going to click together and just kind of set that train in motion. And to execute it well is dreamy for me. But I think that really requires them being willing to go above and beyond so that it lands with excellence. That's what I shared on the TikTok, is that it has to land with excellence too, not just like patch it together and hope for the best. I mean, that's fine. That is, life happens. And when a man is able and willing to go above and beyond so that it lands with excellence, that he's like putting his name on it and he wants to see it through, every time. Gets me every time. Yep.
Question from the audience being me.
The audience of one. Go ahead.
Could you please give us an example of a plan that landed with excellence?
Oh.
Doesn't have to be a romantic partner. This could be Poppy. This could be Dad.
Poppy. My grandpa he is such an EM dude. My dad too. When I think of plans landing with excellence, I think of my dad is like gold star on this. But actually what was coming to mind is the other day, my boyfriend, I had COVID, and so I was not able to do the plans we had planned for Memorial Day. And so we kind of spontaneously decided to go to the park and have a picnic. And he thought through all the pieces that needed to fall in place and was able to kind of prop that up in supporting that happening, all the way down to making sure that, let me think what, my brain was actually foggy, but making sure that all the food got there, made sure the dog got there, made sure that the dog was kind of exercised so that it wasn't bouncing all over the place. So just sweet things like that. Oh, this is where I was going with that. I love oldies music, and he knows that. So whenever he's like making me dinner, he turns on oldies music so that I can dance around. And yeah, little things like that are just really sweet. So
thoughtful.
Yeah.
Yes. Points to, I was going to say his name, Courtney's boyfriend.
Yeah. His name's Julian. We'll give him a shout out. I don't think he'll care.
Then you'll know if he listens.
He does listen. It's really sweet. He always sends me a screenshot that he's listening, and I appreciate that.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, he's our biggest fan.
Wonderful. I really think plans are the easiest way to win with women. Anything that creates safety for her, you're going to win. But so it's the same, right? That's the principle. Both the things Court and I just said is emotional safety for me is really important during the season and in general. And safety in a plan is like Courtney gets to relax. She gets to bring her full-fledged expressive feminine because he's got her back. He's being her support. He's leading the ship.
Yep. Yeah. And that comes down to, hey, we need to have a conversation. Are you free tomorrow to have that? Love that. I love that. That's something that he is aware of. It stays on his radar. Yeah. So that is amazing. Are you ready to dive into some more?
Oh, yes. And I have full permission, and so do you, I imagine, to expand on these. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool,
yes.
cool.
Yeah. So the first one that came in from one of our listeners, guys, was that he takes care of his house and is able to serve in his community. And I think this just speaks to the principle of being of service, men that are of service to something that's bigger than themselves. Is a very masculine quality. That conviction and willingness to take responsibility for things, take responsibility for the care of things, is an incredible gift to not only your woman, but just the world at large. Anything you want to add to that, Bree?
Yeah. I mean, I'm impressed by a man who takes care of his home for sure. And I'm impressed by being ground into purpose. I think that's what that comment really represents for me is he's connected to his purpose and why his soul is here and is doing that work. That is chef's kiss.
I love it. I love it.
How about you? Would you add anything to that?
No, I think that is, I mean, it actually kind of goes in line with the plan. I think there's a certain amount of awareness of how things are being tended to, both at home and in the community, that is something that men innately do. It's a very nurturing quality. That's a very masculine energy quality, to take care of things or make sure that things are tended to. That would be the only thing, kind of nuance, that I would say with that one. That's amazing.
Yeah, the responsibility.
Yeah. And this isn't to say that women don't take care of the house too, or that they don't serve in the community. Don't come at us. We're not saying that. This is just for this particular listener, was saying that that is something that's really impressive to her when she sees men that do that.
Well, I imagine too, just in the context of society at large, Court and I speak about this often, that women often, it's assumed that the woman takes on this labor of taking care of the home or the kids, or organizing, and the emotional labor of the family. So when a man is stepping up, it feels impressive, because I think a lot of women are craving that mutual support and feeling taken care of in their home so that they can relax. Even though, and again, everyone's standard for relationship is different. For me, it would feel like, of course, we're both contributing to the home. It's still really wonderful and appreciated when that's naturally in a man.
Yeah. Yeah, which leads us into another really important dynamic, is the work ethic. Someone pointed out that they love watching servers, like wait staff, who have a really strong work ethic, that really impresses them. But again, I think there's something to that follow through and the nurturance that comes with that, is how I hear that. That isn't necessarily something that I would think is traditionally talked about when it comes to work ethic. I'm talking from a dynamic stance instead of from just a kind of static societal norm work ethic, but to really see it through and to see that people are taken care of in kind of that above and beyond way.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
When you said work ethic, this is just my lens. It landed with me as work ethic on himself, like being able to his own wounds and trauma and ways he might project, so that he can become a really safe space for everyone around him. That kind of work ethic and commitment to self-growth and accountability, I find super attractive.
Oh, I love that you said that. Yes.
Protecting her from your own shadows. That is the ultimate protector, right? You're so accountable for your shit that you're protecting her from ever having to receive it. Of course, we're all human and make mistakes, but that kind of work ethic. Whew.
Wow. And I love that you took that there, because it's, again, I think there's like a traditional definition of work ethic, and then there's like a dynamic definition of work ethic, where like in an interpersonal dynamic, are you seeing things through? Are you following through? Are you accountable for what you've signed up for? Are you continuing to show up for the work? And the work being, I'm looking at myself with compassion and taking care of my own inner state, so that I get to show up as the best version of me to, quote unquote, the job, to the relationship. Wow, I love that. Yes, which kind of flows naturally into what they were also saying, which was being generous and integrous. Those are qualities and characteristics that are that were spoken of in that same vein. You want to say something about that? Go ahead.
Integrity, man. I can't get enough of it. I so deeply respect people who are in integrity, that their words and their actions line up, right? If they say they'll be there, they'll be there. If they say you can count on them, you can count on them. And again, so much of relating to the feminine and seeing the best of her is creating that safety. So, I mean, integrity is a loaded word, but do your actions back up what you say you stand for? If you say you stand for truth and honesty and self-growth, is that reflected in your free time and how you show up in the world? Do you work on yourself? Are you honest? Are you right? It's a big question. There's a marker of your integrity, but also basic things. If you say you'll be there, are you there? And if you can't be there, can you be accountable for making sure whatever you promised, whatever came with your presence, is still taken care of? So if you said, baby, I'll take care of dinner tonight, and then work is crazy and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't cook for dinner anymore. Can you pick up dinner on the way home? Can you order it via DoorDash, right? Is there a way that you can still be accountable for what she might be planning on? Because of course life happens, but I could go on and on about integrity. For me, this is like a baseline, when I'm getting to know somebody, assessment of character. If they give their word, do their actions back it up? Can I trust them? Because if that's not there, there's not a lot of movement. Even in, you think about a friendship level, Courtney and I do so much together, working. If I kept giving her my word, not following through, where's the relationship? So in a romantic sense, it's even more important. What would you say about that, Courtney?
I love that. I love that because there's layers to it, because there is the obvious, like, hey, I'll be there at 6, and then you get there or don't show up, like that would be a really obvious one. But the nuanced part of it being that your value structure is what you're aligning your actions based on. And if that's not in integrity in different areas of your life, that's going to feel, not only it's going to be a red flag, but it's going to be a red flag internally for you too. Like you're going to experience anxiety, or there's not going to be like a peaceful presence that you bring, which is a good indicator that you're out of integrity a little bit. You're not whole in what you're saying. I love that. And it's hard to be generous when you're not actually in integrity, because those actually go hand in hand. They're kind of like two sides of the same coin in a lot of ways. You can't be generous if you're doing it from a space of overgiving or over-functioning or under-functioning. You have to actually be honest with yourself about what is available and start there.
Yeah. I'm so glad you brought that up, because I do think generosity has to be clean in order for it to be impressive. Right? If you're giving so that you can say, I do so much for you, you should be appreciative and you should do these things for me instead. Well, that's not really generosity, that's manipulation. So true generosity is, I'm so in alignment with giving this to you, I'm just going to give it to you for the pure joy of you having it. Right? And there's no bringing it up later. There's no takesies, backsies. There's none of that. It's just, I gave that to you from a place of alignment. I'm not kept score about it. Right? That, to me, that marks true generosity.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And that in and of itself is going to cause people around you to lower their guard and trust. So good. Yeah. Also being, I've got a couple, I'm like trying to decide which one to share next. So another one was to be in conversation, to talk with someone and not at someone, which I thought was actually really interesting, because it does happen when people are just kind of talking at you. Goes back to a couple episodes ago when we were talking about, like, you're not seeing me. The need of the feminine is to be seen, to see my boundaries, to acknowledge that I am a person who has just as much power and capacity as you, capability, not capacity, but capability as you, even if it looks different. And I think that is really interesting, because we talk at people when we objectify them. We kind of make them two-dimensional and squish them down into be what we can handle. So someone that is really powerful is able to see you as a 3D person or multi-dimensional person and take that into account and see that and appreciate that. What does that bring up for you?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with that one. Yeah, I feel actually complete. I think you nailed it.
Awesome. Yes. The next one was to be authentic. They wanted the authenticity instead of the charming bullshit, which is sounds like has a story to it, but I'm gonna just quote that one more time, make sure I'm saying that correctly.
Not clapping you, not gonna lie. I do like a little charm. Okay, I'm not turned off by the charm.
But there's an authentic charmingness, and then there is a superficial charm, is what they were saying. The bullshit superficial charm. Just wanted to quote that one correctly.
Yeah, I mean, if you're leading on and being manipulative, yeah, obviously that's trash. But some good, clean, charming,
Charisma.
little suave, some confidence on you. I quite like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I was, yeah, absolutely. When I was taught, when I was doing EFT training, that was what we learned was the definition of charisma is really to someone that owns their personal power. It's magnetic. And when I learned that working definition, I was like, oh, charisma is not sleazy or like, yeah, that kind of like slimy,
yes,
attractive energy. It's I am solid in my personal self, and that is the confidence is magnetic to everything. Everything is drawn to someone that is confident in who they are.
Yeah. I always think of it like a powerful man doesn't have to tell people that he's powerful, right? A valuable man doesn't have to preach to you his value. Same with women. I think it totally works in reverse. If you are powerful and valuable and you know what you bring to the table, that speaks for itself in your presence and energy and how you show up to the relationship container or the dating container. Doesn't need to be preached about. It's actually kind of a yellow flag, red flag. So not a greatly colored flag. When somebody is being superficially like, look at me, I'm so great, I do all these things. That would concern me around some narcissism, even if you're not full on NPD, but you're showing up that way. That is, early display when you're trying to read somebody and see, is this person grounded and healthy, or are they on the, somewhere in this wounded masculine narcissistic spectrum? That's one of the things I would look for, is this need to bolster yourself and like tell people how great you are, because again, truly great men, you won't hear them. You'll feel it from them, but they certainly don't need to boast about it because their confidence is truly innate.
Yeah, in who they are. Like they know themselves enough that they have a very clear conviction about who they are, and they're just displaying it. They allow you to see it, but not in a I love that. I love that. Are you ready for me to read the next
one? Give it to me. Sorry guys, I've been alone for like 2 weeks with COVID. So I am just full of bubbly social energy. I'm trying to ground it in, but I can't. I need it. Courtney, sorry, tell me another one.
Yeah, I should have let you write the list down. This was a really good one. Loving their kids well. If they have kids, not just loving them, but loving them well. Yeah, you want to start this one? You want me to start this one? I could go all day.
I mean,
I'll start.
Okay.
I'll just take it. I'll take it. So I think the really fun thing about this is that there's a lot of people who have kids and are dating. And I remember when I was first learning this work that there were people who were feeling like that was going to be a hindrance in some way. But I want for people to hear that it is absolutely a display of your character. If anything, it's an easier place for us to see what kind of person you are in an intimate space than the whole process of dating combined. So it is a huge value add when you have kids and are dating. It's a different way of doing life, but make no mistake that this is by no means a turnoff. It is actually a really good sign that you are capable of maintaining healthy dynamics. It's a really good way of displaying your masculine energy in leadership, in tenderness, in care, in nurturance. I can just keep going, but I'm sure you have something to add as well.
No, I completely agree. If I ever had a weakness, it is a man playing with kids, being supportive to children, being a good father. I have, as you know, dated someone quite seriously who had a child, and it always felt like such a bonus to me because you can, just as Courtney was saying, I mean, I feel like I'll just be repeating you, but you can really tell how someone problem solves, conflict resolution. You can see their tenderness, as she said, their caring nature. To be a great father requires a level of emotional intelligence, requires a level of being able to plan. And again, this doesn't always translate, right? You can see someone be a really great devoted father and maybe like let the relationship pieces slide. So it's not like across the board, all good dads are good partners, but you can see a lot of green flags. And I am so impressed by good fathers. And my standards for fathers are pretty high because I do have the top notch father. I mean, he has set the bar. So yeah, basically my ovaries do a little dance when I see a man be happy with supportive of the child.
Yeah.
Speaking of ovaries, turn back on. It's been a real intense couple weeks over here. So anyway.
Oh, no, I think that's great. And I think that I remember hearing that from men too, actually, about moms. Just a little shout out to the moms, that it is just as much a sign of emotional safety and tenderness to bring a child into the mix. So yeah, I love that they mentioned that. And the next one was a permission to be independent and connected, which I thought was really cool. Yeah. Which is, I think, kind of speaking to the ability to be grounded in who you are and not fall into one of the wounded categories of like, I need more of you, you're never giving me enough, or like, go away. I don't want more of you. So like that healthy interdependence where I still get to be myself and you encourage me to flourish as a separate person, and I get to be connected with you, and that's not threatened by my growth, which is a power move.
Genius.
Way green flag. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's this ability to be vulnerable and let somebody in without making them carry it or expecting them to fix it, which is probably arguably more of a feminine characteristic than the masculine. But I love, that might be my favorite comment of all. Healthy interdependence. Courtney had posted something on her Instagram story at Courtney_Shand, where I forget who you were quoting, but I screenshotted it and reposted it to mine as well, because he had said something like, gosh, do you remember exactly what the quote was, Court? It was
I can find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found it because it was on Pinterest, and I was like, oh, I need to say that. It says, while most people seek to be independent in relationships, I seek independent dependence. As in, I want to preserve my wholeness, honor my partner's needs, to do the same, and also be able to depend on her. What is the point of partnership if we can't turn towards each other, towards the one we love, and say, today I can't hold up my world alone. Will you help me? It's healthy to depend on people for support. It's not healthy to depend on them for our wholeness and happiness. Those are two very different things. It's by Mark Groves.
So great. I think,
I
think some people get this term codependency gets thrown around, and it can almost reflect like if you're doing other things for your partner because they might need support that day, well, that makes you codependent, right? You're like taking on their emotions, and you're in codependent territory. And it's just not true. To me, codependency is my needs don't matter and your needs matter. And so I'm going to contort my whole world to fix, save, take care of you, right? Healthy interdependence is my needs matter and your needs matter. And actually, I value your needs because we're in a relationship together. So let's collaborate on this. How can we both get our needs met? That to me strikes me as more healthy interdependence. Yeah. What a genius comment.
Yeah. Yeah. And I loved that they specified the happiness being, you're still taking accountability for your own well-being.
Yes.
You can receive support and still be responsible for your own well-being. Yeah. The comment from the TikTok comment, is that the one you were referring to?
Yeah.
So good. It was so fun to see that one. And the last one was treating others with respect, which goes a long way. We talk a lot about men being empowered, masculine energy men, and being able to hold space for there to be a difference, like a boundary, a separation of me and you. That gets to happen. And healthy men are expert at holding space for that while still staying emotionally engaged. That can be really tricky. But when men can do that and hold other people with that level of respect, it is hot.
Yeah. When I heard you say, what was the exact quote? Treating people with respect. The example that came up in my mind was how a man interacts with wait staff when you're out, right? Are they treating this other person like a human being and being respectful and tipping well? I worked in the service industry before I became an entrepreneur and got to the coaching world. I used to be a server, and I just would die on the hill that gotta leave 20%. So, I mean, unless the service is real bad, and even then it's like, gotta leave 20%. So that to me shows respect for that person, right? Dedicating that time to take care of you, saying please, saying thank you, being kind, being generous, being saying the person's name. Yeah, really.
That makes me happy. I love that. I love knowing our wait staff name. It's just funny. Yeah, no, that's a really great example. Again, these examples can show up in lots of different places, which is what I think is so cool, because the way that you interact with kids, the way you interact with wait staff, the way you interact with parents, it's one thing to want your person to be honorable in those areas, but to actually see how they are engaging is a totally different thing. And so I love that this is what women are wanting to see, is more of these parts of you, that it's not just a two-dimensional kind of grocery list of the man that they're looking for on the app. They really do want this well-rounded full version of you, where you show up in lots of different capacities and lots of different ways, because they love those parts.
Yeah, so true. So true. Would you add anything that did not make our listener list where you feel like this is just huge in terms of naturally impressing us?
Yeah. I think we've talked about just about everything, because I think you worked in there, like taking the initiative to learn about things that support the life that they want, whether it be a new skill, a new hobby, learning about personal finance, learning about health, learning about, taking responsibility for all their own well-being, lots of different areas of their well-being. Not that they're going to be the, head of the house in that way necessarily, but that they are adding to the conversation and not expecting someone else to just take care of all of those things. I think that is a really impressive quality when I've met men who are kind of taking their own personal time to learn about emotional intelligence, or to learn about communication skills, or to learn about personal finance, or taking a dance class or a fitness class that's kind of outside of the, traditional gender role, where they're willing to kind of explore on their own and be a free thinker. I think that is so impressive when men do that.
I love that. And I would agree.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a level of responsibility there too, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And accountability.
Yeah. Good stuff. Anything else you want to add? Do you feel pretty clean?
I think asking great questions would also make my list. And I would say this is, again, working with mostly female clients. Courtney and I both do. Well, we work with men as well, but I've worked with women for the past 4 years on attracting in healthy, empowered masculine partners. And the two most common ways, easiest ways that you can win with women is making a plan and asking great questions. Women tend to naturally, probably through socialization, really value reciprocity, and also will dig into you, usually in a loving sense. They want to get to know you. They want to ask questions. They're willing to be the one that asks, XYZ. So it is impressive when a man can ask thoughtful questions. I once dated somebody who within a few moments was asking me questions that made me extraordinarily feel vulnerable on our first meeting. And this was indicative of his character. Like the entire time we dated, he would ask these questions. Our conversations would get so deep, and he would ask me things that nobody ever asks me. And of course, being a coach, I'm usually the one asking questions. So it was like quite disorientating, but also a huge turn on, and also really impressive when he would ask these in-depth personal questions. And he would really listen for the answer and ask follow-up questions. Not just the one good question, honey. It is the follow-up question. The follow-up question that says, I heard what you said. It landed with me, and now I'm wondering about X. Let's take it deeper. This is kind of an example of earlier when I was saying a man that can take you further than you take yourself, right? These good questions are what does that. And it also made me feel really affirmed. Like, oh, he saw me, he's with me, he's present with me. That's where intimacy is built. So a good follow-up question, natural curiosity about the other person goes a long way. And sincerity, right? We don't want anything that's a put on, but if you're coming from an authentic space, we love the juicy question.
Ooh, I love that. Yes, I love that. I was going to say the natural, like, lean in, the curiosity of like, ooh, this is enthralling. Tell me more.
I'm telling you, a follow-up question is the way to go. It's not just the question, the follow-up question.
Yes. Yep. The phrases women love to hear. Tell me more. Go find it on TikTok. That was a great video. Amazing. Anything else coming to you?
I mean, I could go on and on about things that.
True. We might have to do a part 2 because this is a really
part 2.
easy topic to talk about. But Bree, say they do want more from you. What do they have access to?
All the things. So my website, buildingbree.com, will show you all the ways that you can work with me. You can apply to work together one-to-one. And I don't just work with entrepreneurs. I usually work with really powerful, ambitious, career-driven women in terms of, scaling their businesses or excelling in their career and creating healthy relationships, attracting in healthy partners through accessing their feminine. So you don't have to be an entrepreneur. I have clients who are not, but they tend to gravitate toward me. I have one-to-one spots open right now. We can do a one-on-one 70-minute intensive together if you're just wanting to get a taste. And there's also a link for a 20-minute call. If you're like, I know I want to work with you, I'm drawn to your energy, I don't know, do you have programs, what's going on? You can book one of those and we'll kind of explore together what the best kind of support for you would be. So my website, buildingbree.com. I hang out on Instagram at buildingbree all the time. And those are probably my 2 main places. Courtney, where can the people find more of Courtney Shand?
Well, before we get too far away from that, if you're wanting to work with both of us at the same time, we have a really fun opportunity to do that. We have monthly group coaching calls. These are 90-minute coaching opportunities for up to 20 people. And they right now are $99. We, excuse me, we're running kind of a celebration deal for those. So if you are wanting your spot, go ahead and DM one of us and we will get that link in the show notes for you. But that would be a really fun opportunity to work with both of us at the same time. If you want more from me, you can hang out with me on either Instagram, Courtney_Shand, also on Facebook. Feel free to DM me if you add me on Facebook so I can make sure that we become friends and you can see all of my stuff. And you can also find me on CourtneyShand.com, which is where I put all of my information as well, ways to work with me, different opportunities that are happening at different times. But I would say that would be the best place to find me.
Amazing.
Yes.
Guys, if you love the episode, share it.
Yes.
Just hit that little share button. Just send it to somebody that you want to make their day. You want them to hear this crackling voice coming through their speakers. Recovering COVID voices. Send it. And please rate us. Your ratings are really helping. So thank you for that. And if you don't mind tapping the stars or even writing a little review, we're happy to share those reviews and tag you. Screenshot, put us in your Instagram story, tag us on Instagram, anything you can do to help the show get bigger and spread to more people. We just want to create healthier relationships. So that would mean the world to us.
I love that. And share it with a man. Share it with a man and just send him a little FYI, babe, this one really spoke to me about you. You want to make his day? Open the dialogue. Start with that and see what happens in your relationship. It is going to be fire.
And then maybe he'll come back to the podcast and he'll hear more things. And he'll realize that he can really win with women if he listens to our show. And then you'll also have a better experience in your relationship.
Full circle.
Full sense.
I love it. Oh, we love you all. Thank you for listening. We will catch you next time. See you later.